Welcome, Internet, to the PixelPlay podcast, your weekly gaming podcast with three gamers just like yourself who get together to come talk about video games. This week, though, we're doing our bonus episode. We've been talking about it for, like 6 months, a year or so.
A year, maybe?
The serial episode, we had a deal with our fans a while ago that if we ever hit 250 subscribers, we would do a serial ranking podcast. And, well, this week we did it. We hit 251. If you're here because you're one of those two that just signed on, you have no idea what you signed up for, buckle up, you're in for a ride.
Look, we'll talk about gaming a little bit.
Oh, we'll talk, we have a fiduciary duty to get like a certain amount of gaming conversation in, but this is the Serial Podcast.
Yes.
I'm one of your co-hosts, Kaylan, aka Catastrophe, joined as always by my co-hosts, Adam at CS Radical and Chris at Gin and Chris. If you like that, you like gaming podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts by searching for PixelPlay Podcast, PixelPlay, all one word, or you can find us wherever you get, you can find us on YouTube and Spotify if you want to see these faces as we do it. We post every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a little bonus content for you guys on Fridays. With that being said, gentlemen, how are you guys doing?
I'm so fucking excited. We've been waiting forever for this. Now, granted, we can't really count the fact that we said we wanted to do this 250, then took like a 2-month break, and then came back. So there's a gap there that's a little overly inflated, but...
So I was talking with Jen about this, and I was like, yeah, we're talking about Serial today. And she's like, aren't you a video game podcast? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. But then she's like, why are you guys doing this? And I'm like, yeah, it was this joke. And I don't even remember how we started this joke.
I have no idea either.
I think it was just one episode. We genuinely had, we just derailed ourselves off of the topic. Somebody mentioned cereal, and we ran with it.
It probably was something as simple as we went off topic for like the 17th time, but that one stuck a little bit more, and we finally said, okay, fine, to get off of this topic, 250 subs, we'll do it. And then we just never thought about it again until we realized, oh, we're almost there. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was happening.
Well, we're here, guys. We made it.
We made it.
Guys, what have you guys been playing this week? Adam, I'm going to start with you. What have you been up to?
That was the worst decision you could make, because I finished Trails Through Daybreak 2. It's JRPG time. Let's go, baby.
All right, I'm going to go take a nap.
So,
someone has to listen to him, and I don't want to hear about this weep crap.
Well, good thing that you're talking to me, and it's a good thing it's time for weep crap. So it's finally done. Thank you, YouTube, for completely buffering the video as soon as I transitioned over. Love that. I'm going to have to go back to there. Thanks for the video feed. But finally finished it somewhere around like the 60-hour range. I say I probably like 90%ed it, because there's a few things where it's like, open all the treasure chests, go find these little things, and I'm like, the chapter's over. I can't do it. I hate it when games do that shit.
Saved the world.
You missed it. You should go back and play New Game Plus for that. No, I'm not Chris. I won't do that. So I said from the very beginning, when this game came out, the general consensus was it was a very divisive game because there's apparently a lot of filler. It's in between stories before the big finale, and there's a lot of anime bullshit in it that people weren't a fan of. And I immediately went, so that's Trails of Cold Steel 3, and that was my favorite game in that arc, so I know I'm going to love this game. And I was mostly correct. The game is... I still don't know if I like the way they've changed the battle system, that there's a mix between hack and slash, and then you can switch to the turn-based mode. I think it's neat if you're just trying to get through a lot of the grinding, so it can be a lot more easier. Like, if for grinding and getting the most experience quickly, this does that. So it helps with that. But as the core turn-based guy, I still don't know if I love it. So it's still conflicting in that, but whatever. Trails games have always been about the story, so do they hit? This one does. It takes a little bit of time. Like, I know Sailor Coco in her Discord is gonna agree with me on this if they're listening to this part of the episode. You got to play through about half of the game before you really start getting something to sink your teeth into. Now, that's not to say there isn't stuff to like in that. It's just there's a couple of different chapters where a good portion of it are people I do not give a shit about. And I'm like, okay, click, get through the text. Can we get to the good part? And then it finally happens. I'm like, cool. But that was a waste of time. The last half of the game, especially the last, 2 chapters, as a guy who has played through the entire series, This game made me almost cry twice in the last couple hours. So the ending itself, revealing the big villain, was out of left field to me. I had no goddamn idea that person was going to be involved. I will do everything I can to not spoil anything. But what it led to at the end was one of the things that I was praying since the last game in this arc to do, because it felt unresolved. And when it happened, and I knew it was going to happen, I welled up. The most important thing, though, was and this is again why I love Trails so much. It's just a simple side quest. It's nothing special at the time. You're just helping a character, do a little fetch questing, and you decide you're like, you know what? You need a break. I'm going to go somewhere with you. We're going to take a chill and do some fun stuff. So we go for a little bit, and then we get on a Ferris wheel, and we're just relaxing. And this character that he's trying to help, just kind of relax and chill out a little bit because she's been busy, has been an original character since the first game. Chris, you'll know this character, Ren, from the original Sky game.
Well, of course, Ren.
Yes, because your name is Chris, Kaylan. Thank you. So this character, after 7 games before a certain plot point happens, so Chris, you wouldn't have known what this is, but something happens with Ren that is very important to their story. And 7 games later, they finally resolved that thing.
Oh, whoa.
And as someone who has played through the entire series and understands what this thing is, that was closer to crying than the actual fucking really emotional thing that happened at the end of the game. This thing almost made me do it because, again, it's that 7 games worth of just, holy shit, she actually got this. Like, it's amazing. So, the game...
That's commitment to the brand that, 7 games, and they're like, hey, we're going to resolve this story 7 games later.
Well, and I think it's a thing, too, of, they're just looking at, stuff and they're like, okay, who haven't we touched for a little bit? And they just pull something out of their story and be like, oh, okay, you know what? Let's do something cool with this, because this happened way back in Azure, or this happened in Sky 2. And because they'll casually mention stuff from characters in each of the arcs, and you're like, okay, did they actually plan this out, or did they just go, you know what would be really cool if we put in this spot? And they just do it. And it just shows again of how these guys have done such a fantastic job at taking this long series that I think we're at 12 games now, and always finding something that they can pull from, whether it's 2 games ago or 9 games ago, and making it fit, and not seeming like they've just pulled it out of their ass and it just doesn't make any sense. It always works. And in the same way that I'm sure people have watched really long anime or really long TV shows, and there's a callback to season 1, and you go, that's that thing. You just going holy shit, I haven't heard of that thing in forever. And that's where I'm at with so many of these moments where I go, that's so fucking cool that writers pay attention to that shit. And for this ending to set up a pretty concise ending to what was the last game for a couple of different core pieces, this now sets us up for what is apparently the finale of this arc. And I cannot wait, because it sounds like it involves everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. So I cannot wait. And they've been churning them out way faster now, because they've been because again, these games aren't really crazy difficult to make in terms of their graphic style and stuff. So they're very easy to just retake some assets, throw the maps in, put some new enemy types in there, and then just reskin a few things. And it works. And they're able to put so much more effort into the storytelling rather than having to remake assets all over again. So it works great. This game came out only a year after Trails Through Daybreak 1. So it's great to have a game that is 60 hours long, and it didn't take 5 years for it to come out. So, to still rate it a part of its other peers, it's still not remotely high on the list. I put it as an 8 out of 10, and I put it towards the bottom 3 or 4 of all these games. That's not a bad thing. It just means that it's not hitting the same way. But I think it's also because there's so many other games that I've already played that it's really hard for them to hit that same level, in the same way that Marvel movies are struggling to do that now, because you've already hit that peak. So it's just a matter of them trying to do the best with what they can. And honestly, they're still killing it. And I keep saying it before, if you have not introduced yourself to Trails and you're a JRPG guy, I cannot suggest them more. And, even if you're not a big JRPG guy to begin with, I would say, give one of them a shot and just see how their storytelling differs among, your Final Fantasies or your Kingdom Hearts, or how, so many of them are more convoluted dumbass like bullshit plots, whereas this one is like, no, they ground it. They'll put some wacky stuff in there, but like the actual core of its story is conflict, danger, save this, protect people. Like it's always very easily digestible themes, and I think they continue even after this many games to still make it work despite Kaylan's absolute disinterest.
No, I don't know, because when I
I'm
was
happy
playing
you're
the first
happy,
one,
Adam.
when I was playing the first one, I kept thinking this is a Kaylan game. You know, I think he needs to.
No.
I think he needs to try this. You know,
When there's something about, and I'm like not making here to make like, but when Adam said like the first 20 hours are like a slog.
Well, when I say they're slow,
any
I mean
other
slow
genre.
for what I'm used to.
There's no other genre that's like you just gotta bear through the first 20 hours.
Well, because
then
there's
it's
cool
good.
stuff that happens throughout it. It's just, it's not like nearly as engaging as you'd want it to be if you're going to be like super in depth into it. But as somebody who's played the series, I know, okay, they're building the world, they're building us some new characters. As soon as it turns, it's going to go. And that's the thing, like,
Yeah.
Chris, like, you know, the first game is relatively easy to let you in. Like, you're figuring out how the world is, you're learning the characters around you. And as soon as you get to like the turn, it is night and fucking day how serious it gets.
yeah, it turns. It turns hard.
I'm not gonna knock the slog too much because I mean I'm playing Dragon Age, so whatever.
Well, and I mean, again, like, it's a testament to me going, this is the 12th game, and I'm like, these are still amazing. Like, I'm not dead of this yet.
That's awesome. I mean, I'll go ahead because I brought it up. I'm still playing Dragon Age, and I don't know. I'm so close to being done that I just don't.
You have to be at this point.
I have like
I keep
4
like going
levels.
like, please, for the love of God, just let this game end for Kaylan. Put him out of his misery.
I have like 4 missions left. And the problem is because like I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna skip all the side quests with the exception of like the companion quest because I've been told that there's consequences if I don't do that. And I'm like, cool, I'll do that. Holy crap, you are just a freaking therapist in BioWare games. And I don't know, like this is I think why I don't like BioWare games. I don't want to be a therapist. I don't want to hear your problems. I've got a world to save. I don't care that like you got your heart broken in high school. Doesn't matter to me. Like place and time, people, place and time. And so like I was doing that. And I'm like, fine, I'm going to fix like I'm going to fix like 3 or 4 characters that I like. And that's about it. And the rest, I don't care. And oh my God, like you have to go to like this other place just to hear them talk. And I'm like, I don't care. I just want to stab something. I want to fight a dragon. I don't want to like hear your sob story. So
Yeah, I think
That
Mass
being said,
Effect
I'm
did a
almost-
better job of kind of like finding a gap between the two. Like, yeah, there was a lot of talking, there was a lot of, you know, dealing with the story, but when it was time for action, it was time for action.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the main missions are good, I'm liking it, but I'm also like, I just don't care. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we should get our teams like all sorted out and solve all our problems before we go fight this massive dragon. And I'm like, I'm not like dragon, but just like
You
before we fight
almost
this
want to grab
massive
him by the
boss.
collar and go, guys, the world will end if we don't get this shit together. Stop crying.
Yeah, and then like there's an aspect of like, and then they're like, oh, we should also help all the factions, and I'm like, no, we shouldn't. Just like I don't care anymore. At this point, I totally see the justification why we should end the world here. Like,
Yeah, at that point, you're
And,
like,
like-
no, the faction should be helping us. What are you talking about?
exactly, exactly.
I mean, the
I
age
just-
of dragons is now. That's it.
yeah, and like I'm gonna spoil something real. I'm gonna spoil Dragon Age, like the middle of the second act. So if you don't want to hear it, like skip ahead 2 minutes. But like it's poor writing because at one point they're like, "Hey, we have to wait. Like they have to like make this dagger or something like that, and they're like they have to do it at the next like full moon eclipse or whatever." I'm like, okay, cool, we got weeks to do it, and then like halfway, like you go into the mission, like, oh no, they just did it. It's like, what? If that was all they needed, why did they wait so long? Just do it. So dumb. It's so dumb. So I don't want to talk about Dragon Age anymore. I want to talk about something else. Still video game related, but Chris, I saw the Discord.
Oh
You're
yeah.
on board. You're on the dungeon. You're crawling with dungeon crawl.
I'm crawling. It's taken a big part of my life. So I
so
have been
good, right?
gaming. I have been gaming, but like that's now
No,
instead of listening to music.
This is still my time. We're talking about dungeon crawl.
Yeah, don't
Oh,
you dare
right.
change the
Oh.
subject.
This is still
I'm
my
sorry.
time.
I'm just
I
gonna
still
say-
have the floor. I just don't want to talk about video games.
I
want to
bitched
talk
it.
about this book.
I made Kaylan deal with JRPGs for like 8 minutes. So you know what? He gets to have his moment.
Oh no, this is a
Like,
good.
I just want to gush about this book. We're not going to spoil anything, but like Chris, what do you think?
I am obsessed with it.
How far,
So
have you finished the first book?
No, I don't
What's the
know
name
how
of it
much
again, just
longer
for
I
people
have.
that maybe not didn't catch it?
Dungeon. So real quick, this is a book called Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's basically like Ready Player One meets Dungeons and Dragons meets like Hunger Games. I kind of want to kind of like Squid Games kind of thing. Like, is that a
Yeah.
pretty good accurate, Chris?
I'd say so. Maybe a little bit of Diablo 1, because
Yeah.
Diablo 1 was literally like there's 16 floors you have to get to the bottom to
Okay.
win the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, what happened? Aliens come to Earth, flatten it, kill like 99% of the population. Most of the survivors go down into this dungeon/game where they are basically having to get down to the 18th floor, and each level has different like traps and villains and monsters, and you have to go and kill them. But your character is kind of leveling up as he does so, very much like an RPG style. So, Chris, let's just talk. What do you think? Tell me, like, it's so good, right?
It's so good. I didn't know what to expect. I was gonna buy the book, but the book was like only hardcover. I think I didn't realize they were so new. The series is like only like 4 or so years old. Also, I didn't realize
wasn't
they were
this
already on
like a pandemic creation?
Oh, I don't
Yeah, it
know.
was
I
a
just discovered it like this year. So like, yeah.
apparently it's a pandemic creation, and they're on the like 7th book. I'm like, oh my god, what am I about to get into? I'm like, all right, you know what? I have Audible credits. I will just use one and get the first book. I think that's, Kaylan, how you're listening to it as well, or reading it. And then that was a mistake, because now it's just
so good,
always on.
and the
I can't
authors,
do anything.
the writer, like the other blah 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 blah. The I don't know, what do you call it? Performer, the voice actor, the reader, so good, right?
Yes, so good. And I always
And he does
worry
kind of sound a
because-
little bit like Kronk, kind of David
Yes.
Puddy. Yeah, like,
Yeah, it's exactly that. And my worry was like sometimes I've had audiobooks I've listened to when they do the voices and like different voices for different characters, and it just takes me out of it because it can sound like my 9-year-old nephew like reading a book to me or something and doing the like crazy voices. This is spot on. This is like fantastic, like voice acting, and it's
I
just.
don't even think. I think the having not read the books, I feel like the audiobook is the way to like consume this book.
Yes, I have to agree. And I'm on. I don't know how much more I have to go, but I'm on chapter like 28 or 29, and I only started like last Friday or something. Like, it's not been a week, and I'm much farther in than I thought I would. Because it's like, if I'm working out, that's what I'm listening to. If I'm cleaning the house, that's what I'm listening to. Maybe I'll cook something. Better listen to some audiobook. Like, it's just been, I find every excuse
addicting
to have it going. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been like that too. So like, I've been listening to it on my way to work. I've been listening to it like while I'm working. I listen to it while I'm like nap trap, putting the kids down. Like, it is so good. I have about an hour left of the book, and it's weird because like, Chris, don't tell me if you agree with this, but like, it doesn't follow like a narrative structure. It's not like it's like, hey, like, here's one problem and then like they solve it and the book's over. It's just like constantly just throwing stuff at Carl and Princess Donut.
Yeah, and also
the
shout
cat's
out
the best in this book.
And shout out to the cat, who's easily my favorite character in the entire book, Princess Donut. Like,
I just hear all of these names and I go, I didn't know Adventure Time had a new series.
I mean, it's a little Adventure Time.
You need to get into this. It is awesome.
Yeah, you really do.
Such a good book.
Yeah, just Diablo MMO, but people forced into a real life version of it. Like,
I have to go through the audiobook because me and sitting down with a book is impossible. But
and like, once again, I'm sure the book is great in and of itself, but the guy reading it just like, Chris, do you think he's doing all those voices? Because like he doesn't even sound like the author when he does like Princess Donut or like any of like the female characters.
That's what I was wondering, because no one else is listed in the narration. It's just one person. And then I was listening to like a random character, and they were obviously the voice is being done, and I was like, wait, is that him? Is he this old woman as well as this cat named Princess Donut, as well as Carl, as well as like, I'm like, wait a minute, holy crap, that is a talent.
You know what? Yeah. Once it warms up, I plan on doing hour walks every day. Maybe this is my outlet to do that.
Dude, it's 100%
perfect.
I mean, with the caveat, there's 7 books. You like, once you get
I do a lot. I'm planning on doing a lot of walking.
That's awesome. But yeah, so I've got I've used 1 credit and I have 2 others left, and I think I'm just gonna buy all of them. Like, I think I'm just gonna keep my subscription going until I get a bunch of credits, and just like, I'm gonna listen to the whole series.
Yeah,
I just like the way he's like, God damn it, Donut! Like, it's just so good.
God damn it, Donut! It's like, I was trying to explain it to my wife because she was also like helping me because I hadn't used Audible in a long time.
Yeah.
I was like, I forget how to like get your because it's her credits,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of just using her account. And then she opened it. She's like, "There's 7 of these." I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Why is there a cat on every cover? This ugly cat." And I'm
And
like,
the covers for the books are actually terrible. Like they are not good covers.
I feel like that's on purpose. Like they look like some sort of old 90s PC game.
Yeah, like 90s,
artwork.
early 2000s. Like, hey, cool, we've got like our first like 3D rendering. Let's do it. And yeah.
And the cat's like standing majestic on a few of the books, and I'm like, this cat's an important character. I thought that was just something random, and then no, the cat's a very important character.
So good. It's so good. And I've like had moments where I've like laughed out loud listening to this book.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I've had times when I like didn't focus enough, and whatever I'm doing, I stop, I rewind by like a minute, and I just sit there and listen to the book and stop working out or cleaning or whatever I was doing, because I was like, no, that was an important part. I want to hear it fully with not doing anything else.
Yeah. No, I'm
addicting series.
Loving. I'm glad that you jumped on like Dungeon Crawler Carl and yeah. So.
Oh yeah, it's hitting all the boxes. If you're like an 80s or 90s kid, if you like gaming in general, like it's hitting so many cool pop culture.
Like, it's very much like Ready Player One, like that same sort of like, it's not as much of like just tropey, but like that same like it hits Dungeons and Dragons, it hits Diablo, it hits like all those kind of things. Like it's a great book.
You get all the references. I love it.
Yeah.
Can I follow up with a question that I forgot to ask earlier, Kaylan?
Yeah.
As someone who is enjoying Dragon Age right now.
Yeah.
How upset were you when you found out you could have got it for free not long after?
I mean, it doesn't bother me. It was a Christmas present, so I'm.
So you still technically got it for free.
Actually, I don't mind because I've let my PlayStation Plus subscription lapse, and
so it doesn't matter anymore.
No, absolutely not.
You would have to sign up. And then play it.
I did find it very funny though, seeing that it was going to be the March monthly game as soon as you were like nearing the end of it.
Yeah. I think I threw a GIF in there. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Chris, what about you? I've gushed about my book. Adam's gushed about his game. What have you been up to?
Well, that actually saves me gushing about the book, because that was going to be one of the couple things I threw out there because of how it's like my non-gaming gaming. It's like what I've been doing when I want to feel the gaming vibes, but like
because your character he levels up and you're like, go, get those experience points.
I get like a dopamine hit every time him and the cat level up, and
or whenever he gets an achievement, when like it's like new achievement.
It's so good. It's
it hits that video game dopamine hit. Like
it does. Oh, I'm
Did you
gonna
get a
listen
sense
to
of
it
pride
right
and
after
accomplishment?
I do.
100%.
Like,
but then I'm worried how many achievements there actually are. And he's like fighting for his actual life. Like this is like, it's not just a game. Like it's a real version, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I could see myself being in that situation where it's like, I could die if I screw up, but also how many achievements are there? So gaming wise, I want to throw a quick shout out from our Discord, Soupy and Sailor Coco, because both of them have caused me to ignore my backlog for a little while. So thank you both. Because of Sailor Coco, I played some Tetris today. We're talking Tetris, and I immediately was like, now I got to go play some Tetris. So I fired up Tetris Connect, I think it's called. Tetris Effect. That one that's like a rave, but you're playing
like
Tetris.
The super like ASMR one.
Yes, and if you play it in VR, it is the wildest ride of your life, and it's just Tetris. Highly suggest it. So I was doing that, bit of PS VR there, and then Soupy reminded me of RoboCop, which I'd already been thinking about because of our Sega Genesis side quest the other week. So I went back on my Steam Deck and downloaded some games. I got RoboCop versus Terminator on the Sega Genesis and RoboCop on NES, the original RoboCop game. And I got both of them because I had both of those as a kid, because I was a huge RoboCop nerd, hence why I geeked out so hard with the new game and how awesome that was. I finally beat them because it was something I'd never done in my whole life. So I waited to be 41 to finally beat the NES game I owned.
You did it.
Yeah, I needed save states and cheats. There was no way.
What a surprise.
Was insane.
An NES game that was difficult?
Yeah.
Even the Sega Genesis one. So there's like, it was kind of cool. So I looked up the codes for RoboCop versus Terminator, which, by the way, just wild game on the Sega Genesis. Violent, bloody, music is amazing, some voice acting, very cool. But you like pause the game and then it's like ABBA, CC, ABBA kind of thing. And when you do that, you can unlock like 54 lives, or you can choose your own weapons, that kind of stuff. And I did it. And when you do it, one of the actual developers, it was a picture of them, very pixelated because it's Sega Genesis, but actually comes up on the screen. It's like, this developer just gave you 54 lives. Developer programmer, like, somebody involved in the game. And it's amazing. Like, I actually loved that. But without that cheat, I wouldn't have beat the game. I had the most powerful weapon on the easiest difficulty at the end of RoboCop versus Terminator. And the final boss took like 40 of my lives. I think I had about 70 going in, and it took 40. It was ridiculous how many lives you actually needed to beat the game, and you wouldn't normally have that. And again, that's the easiest difficulty with the best weapon, and a cheat that every time I died, because when you die, you lose your weapon unless you like put it away before you die, which good luck always doing that. That was impossible. I had to have the cheat to also unlock whatever weapon I wanted at any point, so I could just stand there and just shoot at the final boss. So definitely, like, the difficulty spike in that game was ridiculous. Like, no wonder I didn't beat it as a kid. This NES one that's on the screen right now, this one was also ridiculous because it's only 6 hours. If you know what you're doing, you can beat the game in 1 hour. How long to beat has it at 1 hour? I never beat it as a kid. I got into it now. And yeah, it is just as fucking hard as I remembered. I had to figure out how to activate Game Genie codes in the emulator so I didn't die. Like, on the screen right now, you're seeing RoboCop kneeling while there's this boss enemy. The boss has the mayor, so you can't shoot the enemy until the mayor ducks, and then you have to shoot the main guy. And then you have to sit there and try and kill him and shoot and do all this random stuff. Again, the difficulty spike just kept going up, and it never explains what to do. Also, you'll see two indicators on the screen, T and P. P is your health. T is a timer, because apparently RoboCop now needs a battery, which was not mentioned in the movie. What the fuck? So if you actually take too long in the level, meaning take your time to not die, the game ends because your battery dies and you have to start over. So I was on this level, the second one, with that mayor, taking my time because you can't just shoot the bad guy because he's got the mayor in front of him. And I went into the boss with only 3 points of battery health, and then I died. Over and over. So I was like, fuck this, cheats, here we go. Unlimited battery, unlimited health, I'm just gonna do this. It was so annoying. But I beat it, and like 5-year-old me, where no wonder I couldn't beat this game. How would have I? I finally beat it. All 6 levels in 1 hour. So yeah, I beat a couple of RoboCop games. The only, I guess, modern real game that I've been playing, instead of just jumping back into nostalgia.
I was looking for it. I stepped away. I have the RoboCop Game Boy game. I think, like, I don't know if it's the same one, but I have a RoboCop Game Boy game.
Yes, it may be. I think I played that one. I think my friend had it. I don't know if I had it. I don't think I had it. I think it's kind of like very similar to the NES game
that I'm finding. Yeah.
Yeah, it was where they reimagined it. Couldn't obviously be ported. They had to like reimagine the same game, I think. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's actually really, it's Jen's. Like, Jen had it with her Game Boy for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, look. Oh, no battery? They took the battery out. Come on.
Clearly,
this game's for...
Because the battery was the Game Boy, Chris.
That's true. It probably had no save. It was like, come on, 4 AA's. Come on. Yeah, the RoboCop series, but the games, yeah, so good.
And what have you been playing that's like from this century?
From this century, I have been playing Avowed.
How is it?
It is actually delightful. The best way I can describe it is it's happy Skyrim. So if you love Elder Scrolls or anything like that, very similar. They're not like breaking the mold with like, oh my gosh, you can be in third person or first person and hold weapons and blah blah blah. It's Skyrim, but the look and feel of everything is just so much brighter and happier. Like, Skyrim is dragons and vampires and, like, very dark and all that. This is like, you'll go into a forest and there's a bunch of like evil toadstools, like mushrooms with arms and legs. And it's beautiful. And like, I mean, I'm playing it not even on my PC. I've just got it installed on the Xbox. And I love one feature they have. And if anybody has a 120 hertz TV, like a more gaming, I guess, TV, play this game on it because there's 3 modes. There's the normal performance, which is 60 FPS, and then there's the quality mode, which is like the 30 FPS. They have a balanced mode, which is 40 FPS, which will not work great on a 60 hertz TV. Like, it's not a good idea. But if you have 120 hertz, it doesn't like screen tear or anything like that. And it actually is like that perfect balance because the performance mode, with the 60 FPS, there is a lot that you're missing. It doesn't, the shadows and lighting looks off and the foliage is just like gone. Whereas quality mode, everything looks great, but you're going obviously at 30 FPS and the battles feel slow. 40 FPS with like the settings turned up to about halfway from the quality to the performance kind of idea. It's like that perfect. It literally is the perfect balance, the balanced mode. I've been playing on that. I went back and forth a bunch of times and yeah, like playing at that, it's a real game changer. Like it's a trick that I do on the Steam Deck all the time because it's limited. I'm glad to see it in actually some like console games. Other ones have done it, Ratchet and Clank and stuff. I know did it, but like the fact that a game of this size is doing it is pretty amazing. Yeah, like the game is fun. The story so far is like, like what's kind of going on. There's a lot of cool stuff. The one thing I'll definitely say is the side quests are totally worth it. You think you'll just find in a town some guy like, my brother was on an expedition and he went into a cave. Can you find him? And you think it's something small and you go in and it turns out it's a massive side quest, which will lead to big things and then decisions you have to make that actually change the ending of the game. And that's not a main quest. It's not even an obvious side quest where it's like kind of given to you by one of your companions. You literally have to just go see this one guy in the first main town sitting on a bench looking kind of upset. And he's just one of the many side quests that are kind of there. Some of them aren't as big and then some of them are huge. And they're all like adding so much to the story and the world that I'm not skipping any side quests, which normally in these games, I still skip a bunch because I'm like, yeah, I don't need all this. Yeah, it is actually a delight to play.
So yeah. I want to play this one, and this is like likely to be my next game after I play Dragon Age. Like, is it gonna feel different enough? Is it gonna be like a palette, like, or is it gonna feel too samey after coming off of Dragon Age?
Dragon Age is more like melee and action heavy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this will feel very different. My character right now, I have a bow and arrow if I really need like a ranged attack, but I've chosen for my weapons a wand and a book. I'm cool. Actually doing ranged magic, and then the book lets me do cooldown like big magic spells, like put both hands out and just fire and hitting a boss or character or whatever while holding the hands out, and it's a small timer. You can level up obviously spells and attacks and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, it's more powerful, or the fire lasts 5 seconds longer. But it has a cooldown, and then you can use ice and all this kind of stuff. And it is very, very, very cool. I normally in these games either do bow and arrow if I feel like ranged, or I would do just whatever big sword I can find. I will say,
from the little bit that I played of it, two-handed weapons are incredibly fun to play as, because when enemies die to, like, say you have a two-handed weapon, like a mace or something, or like a big like axe, they flop like a motherfucker on that last blow. It is so satisfying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It is. I would say it's different, especially if you choose to play in first person. I tried both. I do prefer the first person. I think it's a more immersive kind of way to do it. That's how I played through Skyrim, though. However you played through Elder Scrolls, any of them do the same here. Like, it's very similar. I would say more to that than something like Dragon Age. You do have a lot of choices in dialogue and stuff like that. And then
so it's not like Dragon Age.
Yeah, no. There's so many options, and it's like, it can be like, oh, you have a certain class you pick when you start the game, and that will give you certain dialogue options only for that class. Then you'll have,
it's kind of got like the Baldur's Gate sort of vibe to that.
Yes, I would say it's closer to Baldur's Gate, 100%, Adam. That's actually a great point.
Awesome.
Because it'll be like, all right, you can give this answer and this answer, but you have to have this much in might or this much in intelligence. Or you can give out these answers, and some of them are always really funny, where it's like, I missed the part where that's my problem. Like, that's just something you can say to somebody. And then the final option is just, I don't care what you're saying, I'm going to attack you now. And it's the attack option. And you can literally just kill the person you're talking to, but it can make huge differences. Because again, in a side quest I was in, you're doing something and then you're talking to somebody and you have a bunch of options. It was like, help this person. You know, I don't really like what you did, but let's try and do it this way instead. You can try and actually get them to stop peacefully. You can choose to just murder them, or you can actually be like, you know what? I love what you did. Let's go along with this. And all of them create new branching paths that lead to the ending, characters that are alive or not, and even to things that have to do with you that I won't spoil. So very, 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 very cool with this game, I have to say. Only complaint I'd have maybe was just in the character creation. There's a lot of options, but there's a lot of different like types of characters in the game. There's people with like reptile skin, furry, like kind of looking creatures like the blue guy you're seeing on screen now, and humans, and you can only choose human. That's the only one you're allowed to create. Now,
it's kind of got the Mass Effect issue where it's like, I want to play as something that's not human in this.
Yeah, so you are stuck with human. Now, if you're fine with going with human, the actual like diversity of choices with picking a human, tons. Like you can make whoever you want. It's amazing. It's more just like there's so many other races in the game and you didn't get to pick any of them. That
you can also still make them relatively
complaint.
unique because the way that the game's like plot is like you're this like special like God-sended like person. So you'll have like you can just turn it off, but like you'll have these unique things like it almost kind of like how clickers in like The Last of Us have like the fucking like growths out of their face. Like they'll have sort of designs like that. So you can actually make some pretty unique looking characters in this.
Yeah, and I can't tell if it's like fungal the way it is, the stuff that you can have all over
like,
your face,
it's
or like
the good
coral.
kind. It's like nature beauty. It's like beautiful nature on your face.
Yeah. To me, it looked more like coral or something from an ocean or something, like very colorful. And it's just like you're born with it because you're a godlike. You're like a person born, but you were touched by a god before you were born. And that's why you're special kind of idea. So it lets you do some pretty messed up stuff with your face. You can look like a clicker basically the whole game. You can have it turned off for the part, but it is very cool if you don't mind being this crazy like, oh, I'm sorry, I look like a thing that came out of the ocean, but I'm here now. Yeah, but very fun, very colorful, very bright. The story is very interesting. The side quests actually matter and are interesting. And it's just kind of got that addictive feel where you're going around and you're kind of on your way to a quest, but then 2 quest markers for some side quests you already accepted are kind of near you, and you're like, I'm gonna go do that. I want to see what happens. And you'll find great loot and you'll like kill things and then cool stuff happens and you got to make a big decision. And it was all on the way to the other quest you were trying to do. So very addicting gameplay, I would say. Very addicting.
Awesome. Very cool. Guys, I think it's time.
It's time.
Is it
It
time?
happened.
Yo,
It's
ranking time.
Well,
all right, so what we're going to do here
but
is...
first,
I've gotta...
sorry, if I may interject.
My apologies, sir.
I've been sitting on something for months with this.
Okay.
So for those on the
got?
video feed, you'll get to see this. Otherwise, if you have a reason to either subscribe on YouTube or look on Spotify for this, here's your reason.
I love it.
So for those who are listening on audio, I have made a overlay that makes it look like we're on our own cereal boxes. So Kaylan is Rice Catastrophes. As you can see, a 0 added Kingdom Hearts, 100% pure data energy plus JRPG King additives. Stays good for 6 months of gameplay and sponsored by the New World Order. Or New Wool Order. Sorry, my mistake.
I love this.
Chris, I actually, for some reason, when I looked at the overlay today, I'm like, shit, I didn't name it properly. It just said Jen and Chris. And I was like, fuck, what do I name it? And immediately was like, Jen and Crisp. Done. So yes. Chris, 100% fence sitter plus chrono withdrawal, never is going to be solved. Stays chill, even in milk, and full of Star Wars and Sonic merch, which, that's a given. And then, of course, with me, I got CS Radicos, 100% natural weeb plus rants and bad takes. Didn't even have to have Kaylan say that. I put it in for him. Throwing you for loops, full of JRPG vitamins and minerals. I'm very proud of this. As soon as we had the idea, I'm like, this is giving me Photoshop needs right now, and I spent like an hour on this.
Well done, sir.
Yeah, we are no longer a gaming podcast. This is it. This is us from now on. This is now who we are.
So what we're going to do here, Adam has a list, and he's going to pull up about 25 or so of like the well-known serials. We're not going for like obscure, discontinued serials. We're going to do like the standard ones. Based on like Canada, North America, like if you've got some like weird Australian cereal, that's on you. You make your own podcast and do that, but we're going to be focusing on that here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, have a conversation. I've got a S tier ranking, and we're going to kind of go through and see how it works out. So, Adam, with that being said, you want to throw out the first contender?
Sure, I'll do that. Let's throw something interesting for us specifically as kids. We'll see how it's aged, though. Lucky Charms.
Ooh, I'm gonna already be divisive on this. That's not my favorite cereal. I'm not a huge.
So how far are we
marshmallow
going?
guy.
Are we going like S, A, B, C, D, F, or?
Yeah, we're doing
Okay.
Lucky
Lucky
grade
Charms
school plus
is a very, very almost too low to be mid, but I give it a C at best.
Wow.
I think I'd go D, personally. But yeah, sorry. Are we putting it where we like it or where we think it's ranked?
We're trying to make the official
like it.
PixelPlay
Where we
podcast
like it, okay.
ranking. Yeah.
Okay.
See,
I'd
look,
be
'cause
willing to
this is
settle on
6th on the
C.
list I'm pulling from. I think that's very generous.
See, I'd put it high. Like I'd put it at like A tier. Like it's got marshmallows and like it's delicious. Now, granted, the cereal in between the marshmallows kind of mid, but as a whole, it works.
I'll hot
Funny
take
story,
it.
actually.
I don't think the
like-
marshmallows are that great either.
That's the part
dare
I
you, sir.
actually am not a fan of. Like that's the part that it fails on for me.
Interesting. So I like it is a staple at our house. My kid loves it. I love it. Like I'd put this at like A, concede at a B. Like I could see a B.
I think if we're averaging, I think B is where we're going at this point.
Yeah, I would say B.
I'd say C is actually because Chris put it at D, right? And you
Well,
put it at
A
C, and I
is
put
kind
it
of doing a lot of extra work with the weighing too. So like, do we
Yeah.
round up or do we round down?
Yeah, I think
I'll put it there.
if we're going
look,
A,
we're
C,
happy.
and D,
We're
I'd say B.
happy that we're doing this episode. We round up, so we go to B.
Okay. Funny
Yeah.
story. So my sister, one time when we were kids, sat there one afternoon and just picked out all the all the charms out of the Lucky Charms. And the next morning I came and like had cereal and I got none for like 2 days. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Not to realize that she had eaten all of the charms out of Lucky Charms.
Is the charms the marshmallows?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the cereal part, so all you had was the marshmallows left. I don't know
Maybe
why.
like,
That'd
oh,
be like
you
the
poor
best day
bastard.
ever.
It's like, what's happening here?
Adam, what do we got next?
So I'm gonna put the combination out there of which, because we're not gonna do like different flavors of everything, because Lord knows we'd be here till
Yes.
every day. So if we had to pick between Fruity or Cocoa Pebbles, which would you go with? I would go for Fruity.
I would go fruity because there's other
Agreed.
chocolate
Agreed.
Okay.
cereals. Yeah.
Now, here's the question. Which one are we talking about? Because there's the old one from the 90s, which were actually like the rock pebbles, and now it's like Fruity Pebble Flakes.
Yeah, it's like
I
a
would
rice
assume
flake.
the flakes, because I actually don't remember the pebbles.
Oh,
Really? Oh, that's when they were. The pebbles to me would have been like an S tier, and the
Yeah,
new ones are
agreed.
like
Because
not.
okay, crazy hot take. I think
I guess we did have the
I
rule
think
that
Fruity
no
Pebbles as they
discontinued
are. I
cereals,
think they're
so-
S tier. I love like current day Fruity Pebbles.
No,
They don't hit.
See, I'm
They
a
don't hit
flakes
for me.
guy, so
I'd put it at like C.
Yeah, C. I'd put it at C as well.
what, we round that to a B then.
Sure.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
S and a couple of C's. That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah,
have
yeah.
to, yeah, that for consistency. So, but yeah, you missed out. It was the Pebble Rocks were.
I might have had it as a
Oh,
kid.
yeah.
I just don't remember. Like this
Oh.
probably was like when I was really young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have
Also, just for
possibly been my
context,
favorite.
audience, how we're doing it is we're doing no discontinued cereals, no limited time like edition cereals.
It's got to be something like you
and-
can see on the shelf for more than like a month.
Yes, and we're doing it that like whatever. If there's like a bunch, it's the best foot forward for that brand. So
Yes, yeah, or else
Yeah.
we'd be here.
We're not doing
Ju-
7 different flavors of Cheerios. Okay.
Yeah, we'd literally have to
Exactly.
do a Cheerios episode. Like
300 subscribers.
No. We got to
We're not
spread
doing
them
that.
out
No,
now.
no,
Like
no.
500 is the next target date. We'll figure out what that is down the line.
Nobody's
Adam, what do you got
falling for
next?
Cheerios.
We'll go to I don't know if I'm assuming it must be in the States, but like this is a Canadian staple, honeycomb.
Oh yeah. Oh, honeycomb. I love honeycomb.
That's the
Honeycomb
one that
is
actually
a
looks
salt-
like a honeycomb, right?
Yeah. Honeycomb is a
Yeah.
solid A tier for me.
Yeah, I would give it A. Honeycomb,
I'd give
honeycomb.
it
Me want
B.
honeycomb.
I'd give it B, but we'll do honeycomb there.
Okay, so
I'm-
2 A's and a B.
Because the only thing with honeycomb, like it would be an S tier, but there's always those really tiny pieces that have a bit of bitterness to them.
I love those pieces though. They're like special magic pieces that just
But like
show
when
up
you
sometimes.
get the perfect big thicker ones that have got
Oh,
like just
yeah.
enough of like that honey sugar taste like from the milk just starting to touch them, and you get that like mix of like hard and soft. Like it's just perfect.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. The cereal for me, it's like almost stressful because it's like I put the milk in. I can't go too quick because then the milk hasn't kind of broken down any of the cereal to make it a little soft. If I wait too long, it gets soggy as shit. So it's like it's a science when it comes to honeycomb, and I've got it down to a science. When I have it, oh yeah.
So we're putting it in A tier or S tier?
Yeah, I think it's A tier because we got 2 A's and a B.
Okay.
Why don't we just go through the cereal boxes here? So we'll start with Kaylan's Rice Krispies. I assume we would go with the base flavor.
F tier. F tier. It doesn't matter.
Really? Oh, I don't actually mind.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's like it's mid C to me. Like it's nothing special. Like on its own, it's still fine because I do like the texture of it until you've waited too long, and then that's a different case. But that's a lot of cereals.
At best, it's crunchy bland. Like, sure, if you dress it up with bananas or sugar or like strawberries, sure, but that's doing the heavy lifting on Rice Krispies.
Sugar on Rice Krispies is really good. That's actually,
but like that's the thing. It's not the Rice Krispies that are good. It's the sugar.
Yeah.
What's I'll hot take this too. I don't appreciate a lot of the like stupidly sugary cereals that we grew up with now. Like I've had them since, and like because it won't be on the list, but Count Chocula, I don't understand why I liked it as a kid. It is awful.
What?
Who are you? This is nonsense. This is
Count Chocula.
Haven't you seen the box? I'm CS Radico.
I'd put it like Count Chocula, like a B or a C tier. It's not the best, but it's like
I'm not saying it's F tier. I'm just saying, holy shit, it's too sweet.
Guys, you're both
very divisive.
Hey, who needs video games? We just talk about cereal and we get more divisive about it.
So Adam, where are you putting Rice Krispie Squares?
Oh, Rice Krispies, I'm putting it at C.
I'd put it at C around there as well. Like it's a mid cereal that I like, but it's nowhere near any of the fun cereals. Like it never would even be close. So it couldn't be higher than.
If Rice Krispie Squares didn't exist, this brand would go to business.
Side note: Fruity Pebbles as they are today. Fruity Pebbles are way better for fucking Rice Krispie Squares than Rice Krispies are. Holy shit!
Oh, I'd believe that. I would believe that. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put it at D tier. So 2 C's and an F. I'm gonna put it at
that's
D
fair.
tier.
D. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, cool. What do we got next?
So then we'll move on to mine. I basically model mine off of Fruit Loops, so we'll go with that.
Fruit Loops. Oh, I do like Fruit Loops, but you know what? I would have to say of all the like.
They're like just above mid to me. I put them at like a B, like just above mid.
I'd put them at a B as well.
I was gonna say B because it's like I love them, but like of all the other cereals where I'm like that's an A or that's an S, like this one falls below those, so I would go B as well.
I feel like there was a change with like Fruit Loops at one point because I feel like Fruit Loops used to be a lot more vibrant in flavor, and now now they're duller in flavor. So like,
there's something about
shit, y'all were just talking about Fruity Pebbles. Like shit changes, man.
Yeah, I think it was the diabetes or something. I don't know. Something was happening to kids, and
once they got rid of all the artificial coloring, it just ruined it.
Yeah. Wait, this wasn't real fruit.
The cancer was totally worth the flavor.
Yeah, like come on, I'm fine, and I ate a lot of it.
So if we're leaving the last one, then Chris's would be Captain Crunch. But the question is which one? Is it the OG? Is it Crunch Berries? Is it Peanut Butter Crunch? I would assume the OG.
I'd say OG.
Yeah, OG.
But I know there's some people that swear by Crunch Berries.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've had the Crunch Berries one.
I think I did as a kid, but I don't really remember much about them, so that's kind of why I'm leading to the OG anyway.
I went OG all the time.
Despite their mascot stealing valor, trying to come across as a captain, which he is not.
No, he's not.
Captain Crunch is S tier. That combination of sugar to blood in your mouth is just a perfect combination.
It's so true. I'm so dangerous.
Both figuratively and literally with that cereal. Cause no, it's an S. I try to talk myself like there's faults with them. Like, nah, I can't.
Yeah, it's
just thinking about the taste, even despite the fact that it's painful at times.
Yeah, we can pick multiple S tiers though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, there's not one. This is just like the rankings of where they fall.
There's not one Cheerio to rule them all.
No.
Oh, there is, but
it's awesome. Because my kid loves Captain Crunch, and so but I can't eat it all the time because it's literally just sugar in a square form. So I'll make it for him and I'll scoop a spoon or two, and it's just chef's kiss.
Yeah, no, this is S tier then for me too.
Yeah.
If I just didn't want it to take away my true S tier, the holy grail of cereals to me.
I'm curious to see what your number one is.
Oh yeah, you'll know. I'll probably freak out when we bring it up.
It's probably not this one, but we'll go on to Frosted Flakes.
Oh, I love Frosted Flakes.
I'd say Frosted Flakes are a solid A tier. Like,
yeah, A.
You get cold milk with Frosted Flakes. Oh,
if y'all
so
are
good.
agreeing on A, I'll put the honorary S in there just to be nice to it. But yeah, A is pretty solid. Like as a
put
kid,
Frosted Flakes up at
there
S,
are a few like outside of like the over the top sugary ones, but like for the basic, like remember those little tiny like 4-packs you would get of like the tiny boxes. Yeah. Whenever we got those, it was always that one I look forward to.
Yeah,
I'm actually now thinking about it. Like, I think when I was a kid, Frosted Flakes were lower, but as I've gotten older, like Frosted Flakes has like stayed there and gone up. So I don't put it as tier. Like,
it's like as you get older, you're like, okay, this isn't like diabetes level sugar, but it's still good.
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes, the best cereal in your grandma's cabinet.
It's actually, my grandma had one of those plastic containers where she took all her leftover cereal and put it into that one thing. So when you had cereal at her house, it was like randomized. And it's now something I actually sometimes do myself because I realized she was right. And having that mix of all these amazing cereals in one bowl is like,
your grandmother's a genius. Like,
she was a genius. It was just to save money. It was like, we can't get rid of the little bit. It's just got to go into this thing, and all of a sudden, it's like you got some Frosted Flakes and Fruit Loops and Honey
to be
Crisp,
honest, you're getting the best. Like the bottom of the bag is always the best one because that's just like pure
just
straight.
sugar.
Like that's the cocaine of cereal. It's just pure uncut raw.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Well, we were talking about best cereal in your grandma's cupboard. Can I put the potential competition for that in there with Cheerios? And obviously, we can probably figure out which is going to be the better one. Because I would assume we'd agree on Honey Nut on that.
Oh, it's Honey Nut.
It's either Honey Nut or the Apple Cinnamon for me.
Here's the thing.
Those two.
If it was easy to find in stores, I would argue Frosted Cheerios, but they just vanished after like I became a teenager, and it's just a states only thing apparently. Frosted Cheerios were fucking crack cocaine.
I have seen them in Canada a little bit, but it's one of those things where they're there randomly for a month, and then you don't see it for 2 years.
We're too busy getting blueberry muffin Cheerios these days.
Blueberry muffin.
But yeah,
I feel
honey
like
nut,
Honey Nut
I'd say.
Cheerios is like the default
yeah, I'd say
one.
honey is like the
and like
main one.
I'm torn between S and A on this because like as the de facto good for you cereal, it's so fucking good.
Like I'm leaning towards A.
Yeah,
but
I'm an
like,
A.
I could see it being an S, but I think A.
I can see it, but yeah, for me it's an A.
Yeah, like if I had to put up against other S tiers that I have, I think it's just below that. I think A is a solid choice for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
What do we got next?
I've waited long enough to throw potentially the big one in the ring. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's a good one.
That's an S tier. I don't even have to think twice.
I'd have to give that an S as well. Yeah, that's an
the
S
first
tier.
unanimous S. I'm like, I've been trying to hold back on throwing that in right off the bat.
Have you guys tried the Cinnamon Toast Crunch churros?
Yes.
I have seen them, but I have
they are
not tried
so
them.
good.
Oh fuck. Oh, I'm gonna get a cereal backlog. This is gonna be weird.
I still haven't tried the ones with the filling in them, but I'm like, I think that still might be more of a kid geared one where it's maybe too sweet. Mm-hmm. That's my only concern with it. And besides, every time I go and I want to get cereal and I see Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I don't look at that one. I look at either that or churros right now because churros is so fucking good too.
Churros is really good.
Okay, this one's probably going to be lower on the list, but it is in that top area of the list. Apple Jacks.
What? What do you mean bottom of the list? That's my holy grail. That's the one, baby.
Really?
That is my cereal.
God.
Apple Jacks.
That's the hill that Chris the fence sitter dies on. Is that
Chris is dying on a C?
I would murder for Apple Jacks if they called me and were like, "Listen, we can make Apple Jacks taste the same, and you can eat it every day, and it will not affect your health." But you gotta kill someone. Someone's dying. Like
It's not even the best Apple cereal.
It is the best cereal that exists. And it's probably nostalgia as well, because when I was a kid, me and my family, we would drive down to Florida, and it was those little cereal boxes. And at the time, Apple Jacks wasn't in Canada. So it was only a thing I could get when I was in Florida, and it was a little cereal box. It had like the little indent. You could like open the box and eat right out of the box from like the side. I don't know if you guys ever did that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Apple Jacks, and I would eat like 10 of them because I was like, oh my God, I can't get this back home. Eventually, it returned to Canada, and like last week, I was like in a bad mood because of work and stuff. So I went grocery shopping. I walked past some Apple Jacks. I was like, fuck you, you're my cheat meal today. I ate 3 bowls of cereal for dinner that day. And it was all Apple Jacks, and it was the best day of my life. That turned anything I was upset at, gone. Apple Jacks.
I always forget that you're older than us, Chris, and you were born before taste existed, and so it makes sense why you like Apple Jacks.
So he's got an S. I got it as a C. What are you doing, Kaylan?
You guys.
I mean, like, I was gonna put it at like D.
Oh my god, you guys! Do you remember the commercials for Apple Jacks where it was like,
no, because they were terrible.
No, the kids were eating it, and then a grown up like you two would walk in and be like, "Why are you eating that? It's not even doesn't even taste like apple." And they're like, "We eat what we like." That's you.
Was the cartoon black and white, Chris? Was it black and white?
Yeah, it was black and white. It was. No,
it was black and white except for the red apple that popped on screen because they wanted to pretend like, oh, look how colorful this cereal is, and pretending like, oh, it's not your normal cereal, and then you eat it and you're like, that's pretty normal to me.
No, this wasn't even on TV. It was on the talkies. Listen here, kids. Come on and get your Apple Jacks. It doesn't even taste like apples. It's delicious.
Fun fact, there was like this Apple mascot. The commercial I'm talking about are before that guy was even invented. It was literally just a commercial with the kids and like their parents. They didn't even have a mascot yet. But they were right. They eat what they like.
I'm D. I think we average that to B just on the S alone.
Fine, you're wrong.
You said what did you say?
I said C.
I feel like we have to give him the A because he put it at the S tier.
Well, no, because if it's a C and a D, like an S isn't going to carry it 2 spots up.
No, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not helping him on this. He's getting a B. I don't care that Apple Jacks start with A. They don't go in there.
You guys can eat it, not my Apple Jacks.
I don't want to. No, thank you. That's why it's at the F tier.
So while you're sitting there as a kid thinking about Apple Jacks commercials, why don't we talk about the thing all of us as kids? Oh,
let's put quick pause. I'm just going to recap where we're at. So right now we have Rice Krispies at D tier. We have Lucky Charms, Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, and Apple Jacks at B. Honeycomb,
Do we have nothing in C?
Honeycombs and Honey Nut Cheerios are A, and Cap'n Crunch, Frosted Flakes, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch are S. We currently do not have an F, and we do not have a C.
That's crazy. Well, I don't think this will fall into either of those, but remember how shocked you were the first time you saw Reese's Puffs?
That was pretty shocking.
Is this a second unanimous S tier? Because I don't even have to think about that one.
Adam,
still today I don't have to think about that one.
Adam, there's a reason why I'm fat, and it's Reese's Peanut Butter Cup cereal.
Well, I mean, depending on the age you are now, it could be the new Twinkie cereal. It could be like if you want to be really Canadian, the Tim Hortons birthday cake cereal.
Okay, I've had that. All right, well, justice for Apple Jacks, it's an F tier. I'm kidding.
You can't even lie to us
I have to give it S.
The F stands for fucking bullshit.
Yeah, the puffs do need to be S tier. They're really good for me.
All right, I've waited for a while for this. It's in the top 20 on this list I'm pulling from. Let's see if we can get an F tier. Frosted Mini Wheats.
I actually don't mind them. I actually kind of like them. I was a weird kid where I'd also buy the giant, like, wheat thing. I don't even know what it was called. Like, shredded wheat. It was the one big one, and you'd, like, break it apart. So that's why. But, I mean, to me, it's still, like, a D or something. I just wouldn't give it an F.
Before you went outside and played with, like, stick and wheel kind of thing? Like,
maybe that's why he loves Apple Jacks so much. Is the first thing he had after this.
You guys suck. You don't know taste.
I don't know. This is like the one time that me and Kaylan have actually been agreeing on most things here. I think you might actually be the wrong one for once.
You're like going out working in the coal mine and then come home and get to play with your cup and ball and eat your giant like Wheaties and stuff.
Go back outside and play Tiggly-Winks with all the other kids, Chris.
That being said, I actually put Mini Wheats pretty high. That's my go-to cereal as a grown-up now.
Okay, well, I was joking about not agreeing with Chris very much, but I actually agree it's a D.
You're a D?
I
would give it a D. I'd go with D.
If it didn't have the slight respite of flavor, it would be an F.
I'd put it at B, but I would accept C.
Well, we got
two
Ds?
2 Ds and a B.
That's
I'll put it at C.
That's our first
Mini
C.
We're talking Mini Wheats, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Ironically, that's my kid's favorite cereal.
Really?
It's between that and Cap'n
Apple
Crunch.
Jack. You just got to give him Apple Jack.
That's such a gap. Holy crap.
It is. It's the two spectrums for sure.
It's basically, oh my god, put this in my mouth, and oh my god, don't put this in my mouth. Go ahead.
So I'm not even gonna touch that one.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what is this podcast rated again? I can't.
Chris, we talked about
episode.
dicks for like an entire side quest. Don't kid ourselves on this.
For all the parents who let their kid click on this serial podcast episode, we apologize.
It's okay. You've had enough time to realize this wasn't the right thing and you turned it off, so we're fine by this point. Speaking of popping things in your mouth, corn pops.
Ooh, corn pops.
I put that at C.
Yeah,
that's a C.
I agree.
That's a C.
They're the thing that's like,
C.
they taste really, really good for about 2 seconds, and then you realize what it is, and you're going, that wasn't as great as I thought it was.
The first bite is a good bite, and then afterwards, like, okay, what do I do with the rest of the bowl?
This should have been Apple Jacks.
Moving on to things that have also changed shape since I think we actually had an argument about this at one point. Maybe that's where it started, but tricks.
Yes.
Tricks.
Yeah.
I like tricks. And they have changed shape.
They have, this goes back to, they also got fruity
So in
pebbles,
this case, we can justify we're talking about the fruit shapes. Unless y'all
here's the thing. I discovered they still have the fruit shapes in Mexico. I was in Mexico one day.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like at the store and I saw like Tricks, OG 90s Tricks, and I just bought it because it was Blast of the Past, and I bought like 2 boxes and brought one home. It was delicious.
I literally have the current version in my cover right now, and it is S-tiered for me. It is what I wish Fruit Loops could be.
It is Fruit Loops hopes to be Tricks when it grows up. And
but Tricks are just for kids.
I think the flakes are a step down. But
they're not flakes. They're just puffs essentially.
Yeah, just like a puff now. Yeah.
Yeah, but when it was like the actual shapes of cereal, that was the best.
Oh yeah,
they're like corn pops, but actually good.
Well, they're not just a vegetable of corn or whatever.
So we're putting Tricks at S tier.
Yeah. I think that was enough. So we got 3 unanimous ones.
We actually have 5 unanimous or 5 S tier.
Well, I think those are the only 3. Like that Reese's Puffs and Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I think are the only 3 that we unanimously
you are
like
right.
S.
Yeah.
You are right. Actually, we're also unanimous with corn pops.
On
well,
C,
I mean S unanimous, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Going a little bit further down, this one's like a sleeper hit for me. Golden Grams.
Oh gosh, I haven't had that.
Now
in a
specifically,
long time.
it has great memories for me because it had like I wish I'd kept the box. I really should have. When the Blue Jays had that infamous bat flip moment with Jose Bautista, they put that bat flip on the Golden Grams cover, and I can't believe I didn't keep that box.
Wow.
I'd put like Golden Grams is not one I've not had it.
It's
a while,
not it's not an S
to
me, but I think it's pretty solid, like a really good A to me.
I'd put it at like C tier. One of those like I'll eat it if it's in the cupboard, but I'm not going out and buying it.
I was gonna say B, so that's probably
like
a good then middle. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fair with that.
Okay.
And then we'll throw a couple more. Well, yeah, we're almost getting up to 10:30, so we'll probably aim for like another 5 minutes here. So Raisin Bran, since we were talking about it earlier.
Oh, F tier.
So here's the thing.
This goes back to the raisin conversation. It's F tier.
So I'm sorry, but I now got like validation in our general chat in the Discord that raisins aren't terrible. So for that, honest, and this is like serious, I think Raisin Bran's like solid B tier.
Oh no.
Raisins. This goes back to raisins.
Look, you're gonna put it in D tier anyway because you both effed it, but I don't see why people hate Raisin Bran that much.
I was gonna say D tier because regular raisins suck, but at least these ones have like a little bit of sugar on the outside of them, so it would go from F to D. But that's as far as it's going for me.
You can slap lipstick on a pig; it's still a pig. Like,
yeah, but pig's delicious.
Nothing has ever improved.
Look, apparently it's my frosted mini wheat. Sorry.
All right, so where are we putting this? We got an F.
That would be a D at that point.
Good.
All right.
It's 2 Fs and a B. Like it's a D.
Justice for Apple Jacks.
Better, more than it deserves, if you ask me.
So I'm sorry, Americans. It's not Honey Smacks. It's Sugar Crisp.
Yeah, Sugar Crisp. Holy hell, S tier. S. That's right up there for me. I was addicted and still am. If I get my hands on it, it's very sugary.
Sugar Crisp.
Yeah, that bear was right. Like the leprechaun or whatever from from the marshmallow one, Lucky Charms, and he's like, "Oh no, they're taking it." I'd be like, "Nah, let it go."
Like, no,
But-
we're passing.
But
I'd put it at A. I'm not quite S tier on it, but like it is right close to it.
I didn't like Sugar Crisp as a kid.
Oh God. I didn't think we'd lose friendships over this episode, but this is tough.
This is the best episode
Also,
we've ever
the
done.
bear
honestly.
looks high as hell, and he's off. Like he's looked like he's passing it to you at a party. Like, hey man, want some Sugar Crisp?
Yes, I do. I would love
like, listeners, viewers. I'm telling you, this is why you need to subscribe because look at the we get more angry at each other with these specials than we do with the actual show.
What are you guys both putting it at? You guys are both
S.
S or A or?
For me is S.
You know what? Fine, you guys can have it. I don't care that much, but
Oh, couldn't do it for Apple Jacks. No, with the bear.
All right, I'm just looking at what's left on the list. Okay, I can pull 2 more and then we'll be good. Well, we talked about it earlier, Count Chocula. So as it stands, the last time that I had it, look, it's not bad tasting, but it's like Nesquik cereal with Lucky Charms marshmallows that I don't like anyway. So it's a D.
I'd go C.
I'd go C. Like I'd prefer Lucky Charms over Count Chocula.
Yeah, like that's fair. I just it's one of those cereals that I had later in life and went, oh my god, I fucking love this cereal, and then took a bite and went, what was wrong with my taste buds? And then last but not least, it's not great, but at the same time, like it was another one of those ones that was like really cool to see. Oreos.
Oh, Oreos. I had
Are those still around? I think that falls in our discontinued line.
When was the last time I had them? I had them as an adult, but I don't remember what stage of adult I was.
Well, let me see if you know what. Fuck it, Kaylan. Churros. S tier. S tier.
S tier for sure.
Well, I mean,
I'm gonna throw
churros.
one
Yeah.
out. Yeah, I think we all agree there.
Unless you guys can think of something else, because the list here, I'm seeing a lot of American ones at this point.
There's one that we haven't talked about, and it goes back into that grown-up cereal. Honey Nut Shreddies or Honey Shreddies. Where did those go?
Oh, Shreddies.
Oh,
totally
Shreddies.
slipped my mind.
Like, and we're talking the Honey Shreddies. Like, once again, best foot forward.
Texture-wise, really takes a lot off of it. I would say, like flavor's great, but like, yeah, like once it gets to a certain point, it's not the same anymore. But I would still put it like C.
Oh wow, I'd put it like.
That's an A for me.
I'd put it at S.
Because I actually really like Shreddies, like the normal Shreddies. I don't know why. But yeah, and then obviously these are just heightened. So it's like, for me, it's like an A.
Now, here's where do you fall on this, Chris? Are you pro square Shreddies or pro diamond Shreddies?
I mean, texture-wise, if I'm just going based on that, the square ones. What? Why are you guys laughing?
Did you not remember that commercial, like the little
promo
marketing?
Oh my god,
where it's like,
you worked himself into a shoot, man.
I didn't know. I'm like, what the? I mean,
it was literally like they had like this whole campaign of like, do you prefer the square or the diamond? It's just on a 45-degree angle.
I do not remember. Oh, I thought you said triangle. That's why I'm like, oh, okay.
You tricked him.
Yeah, you tricked me. I thought you said square and triangle. Not it really just said diamond.
Well, they sound very similar, triangle and diamond.
Yeah, no, they don't.
All right, do we want to put this S tier, or sorry, A tier or B tier?
If you what? We got an S and an A and then a C, I think.
S, A, and C.
Yeah, that'd be an A.
Yeah, it's an A.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Chris, is there any ones that you don't see on the list that you want to add?
Good there was only one, which was Alphabets. I don't know how popular it was with everybody else, but
Alphabets
I was
were fine. Like I'd say C as well for that.
That was just Lucky Charms without the marshmallow.
Yeah, it was just like Lucky Charms without it. It was just the good part of Lucky Charms.
That's another one that changed a lot. The good part of Lucky. I actually agree with that statement. Because I actually loved Alphabets. It was my favorite cereal. Besides Apple Jacks, it was like my second favorite, I guess. Growing up, I loved it, and then I had it as an adult, and this is why it's not as good now. They completely changed it. Like they made it more like puffy, like bigger with like less sugar. I guess it was probably because it was just pure sugar in the old ones. So if it was the old school 90s one, oh man, that would be like S tier for me. But yeah, for me it went down.
I remember when they used to have the wizard as the mascot, and then the computers came and took its job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robots are coming and taking our jobs.
Yep. And he was just a monitor. He didn't have. It was like a built-in to the monitor CPU. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. I put that like once again. I can't put that above Lucky Charms because it's just Lucky Charms is not the good part. So like, I put it C.
The new one for me is a B.
Adam.
Yeah, I'll keep it at C.
All right, we'll put it there. All right. Adam, is there anyone on here that you've missed out on, good or bad, you want to throw out there?
No, I think I was going to throw out a different question once we had our master list.
All right, so here is our master list. So in the D category, we have Rice Krispies and Raisin Bran, who lucked out more than it should. C, we have Mini Wheats, Corn Pops, Count Chocula, and Alphabets. B, we have Lucky Charms, Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, and Golden Grams. A tier, we have Honeycomb, we have Honey Nut Cheerios, Sugar Crisp, and Shreddies. And then S tier is Captain Crunch.
That's a lot of honey in one category.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah. Honey is
Honey is a solid A tier. So S tier, we have Captain Crunch, Frosted Flakes, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Reese's Peanut Butter Puffs, I think they're called,
just
and
Reese's
Trix.
Puffs.
Whatever, Reese's Puffs.
So that's what, 5?
Yeah, 5.
All right, so our last question, Mount Rushmore. We got to take one out.
Of the S tier?
Yep.
Like we're not allowed to have one. We can have the other four, but one must die.
It's Mount Rushmore, so we only get 4, so we have to take one of them out.
Oh, what were they again?
Kaylan?
Captain Crunch, Frosted Flakes, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Reese's Peanut Butter Puffs, and Trix.
Oh, I
How are
don't
we
really
supposed to take one?
I don't think too hard about that. I'd take oh my god, I just had a brain fart. What was the first one? Oh, Frosted
Captain
Flakes.
Crunch?
Sorry, I figured it out. Frosted Flakes. Jesus, brain.
You're taking Frosted Flakes out of that one?
Yeah, if I had to pick any of the 5 to take out, it'd be Frosted Flakes.
I hate to do it, but I might have to agree with Adam because I can't touch the other ones. Like they're
like Trix is your
just too
solid
good.
fruit. Reese's Puffs is just like absurd.
Absurd.
Captain Crunch is like
illegal.
the texture queen, and then Cinnamon Toast Crunch is, in my opinion, the de facto number 1.
Yeah, like it's impossible to take it out.
For me, I'd take out Trix just because Trix today is not the Trix that it was before.
Oh,
That's
right,
fair.
it has changed. Oh,
That's fair.
I'd say if I'm going to the
that's
grocery
the
store
deal breaker,
today-
but like from a flavor profile, I find I get the best balance between those 4.
No, Kaylan's right. I was thinking the shapes. Now that it's like just the pebble, yeah, no, it's Trix that gets removed for me. Not Frosted Flakes,
Cool.
it's Trix. And I'm taking all of them out and I'm putting Apple Jacks back in. It's S tier.
Yeah, Chris's Mount Rushmore is literally just Apple Jacks 4 times.
That's yeah.
Apple Jacks and just like oats, just straight oats.
Actually, random side question to cap it off. Is there like a limited time cereal that you remember the most that you're like, I wish I could have back?
Yes, I actually got one, and
because
it
it
tastes
could
like
also be
shit.
just brand related. Because it could be like the Batman cereal, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. I've got one, and it tastes awful, but I still want it to come back because I just want one bowl of it to relive that memory. There was this Ninja Turtles cereal in the 90s, and it was green shapes, and it tasted like ass. I don't know what the green was supposed to be, but it was awful. I was so excited. I made my parents buy it because it was Ninja Turtles, right? It was all the rage in the early 90s, and it was so disappointed. But yeah, I don't know why. That's the one I would want to bring back.
I don't go ahead because I got to think about it for a little bit.
So the one that kind of comes to mind was there was this, I don't know how long ago it was, but I vaguely remember it for a very brief moment. There was this cinnamon bun cereal. It was just called Cinnamon Mini Buns. I looked it up.
Yes, yeah.
That's the one that I'm trying to think. There's something else like brand wise that might come to mind, but like I guess if it was a brand one, maybe the Pac-Man cereal, like because I remember seeing it as a kid, but never got to try it. But like actually, like off of memory, it'd be the cinnamon bun cereal.
Yeah, cinnamon bun one. I had that. I remember that. It was good. Short-lived, but good.
Well, I think they sort of brought it back. Cinnamon Toast Crunch did a rolls one, I think, at one point. I don't remember ever getting it though.
Fun fact: there's now a Cinnabon one at the cereal aisle,
and it's good.
Yeah, so it's probably not the same, but.
No.
but it's still going to be probably pretty good.
So I got two. One was back in like the 2000s. There was a Star Wars cereal. And I remember eating that like crazy. And if you sent in like certain amount of boxes, you got a clone trooper helmet. And like not just like one of those crappy masks that just sit in the front, like the full 360 helmet. And I have that somewhere. Chris, you should look it up if you want to.
I will.
One that I would bring back that I don't know if it's back yet, but French Toast Crunch, if you guys remember that one.
I do remember that one. I could have sworn I've seen it at some point, but I don't remember. But I do remember. It was
I looked online,
it was like a blue box.
Like it was a blue box. It looks like it was discontinued. I'm seeing here it was discontinued in 2006, reintroduced in the US in 2014, and then was discontinued again in 2020. I don't know if that's in Canada as well, but I assume if it's discontinued in US, it's discontinued.
It wasn't like top tier, but it was like a really solid B. Like it had a weird aftertaste, but like it was still pretty good.
Yeah. French Toast Crunch would be the one I'd bring back.
Nice.
Chris, are you looking up for that Star Wars?
I'm looking at that. I want it. I want it.
It was actually pretty good too.
I'm sure you can buy a box now that's been expired for like 20 years.
Oh no, it's just pure sugar. It doesn't expire.
There's also a cereal that was Star Wars called C-3POs that I never knew existed.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is genius marketing. Whoever thought of that is a genius.
There's I think the channel is Weird Food History. They have a whole episode on just some of the weirdest like cereals that were either like limited edition, like one-time offs. Like again, Batman. There was a Mr. T cereal way after his like intrigue was already out.
Chris, I'm sending you a link to the cereal with the helmet that you could see. So just sent you in Discord.
Nice.
And he's really jealous.
It's like a full-size helmet.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Chris never gets jealous about Star Wars stuff. We never have that conversation like right after the show where Kaylan just immediately shows something else he's got model-wise, and Chris goes, I want that.
Yeah, that's my life. That's how it works.
And we want more subscribers so we can do more stuff like this again.
And with that, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us as we've gotten to 250 subscribers. It's greatly appreciated. If you're listening and you have no idea what we just watched, but you want to watch more, you can subscribe to us on youtube.com. Find us for PixelPlay Podcast, all one word. You can also find our Discord at linktr.ee/PixelPlay Podcast. We've got a Discord. We've got a bunch of socials that we never use, but the Discord there is fire. So join on that one. Chat with us. Chat with our friends. We would really appreciate it. Like the video. Let us know what your favorite cereal is. How close are we on your ranking? Were we closer? Is this absolute trash? Did Apple Jacks get screwed over, or is it where it belongs?
Screwed over. It got screwed over. Everybody knows.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.